Okay, this was like so amazing. I just had to share it. Okay, so I'm reading Percy Jackson. I'm reading the 6th book in the series. It's the Chalice of the Gods, which the artwork is incredible. Like, if you know, you know. The artwork is incredible on the cover. It's crazy. But I've loved this series, and I never read it growing up, but I read it now. And it's amazing, especially because I have ADHD, and the chapters, what they're named and what they're called, it just keeps me hooked and all that, you know. And so anyway, we're at this part where we're at chapter 28. There's like 35 chapters, so I'm almost finished. And it says it starts raining toys, which I love the chapter names. I do. I'll say that again and again and again. But right now Percy's trying to get like three recommendation letters for college and all that stuff. And he has gone on these quests, of course, because Percy Jackson can never just like have a moment of peace. So he and Beth and Grover, there's a lot that happened in this book. It's not a book of recap, really. Well, kind of, but also not. Anyways, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so they're trying to get this chalice or whatever from Zeus. This Zeus's cupbearer was like, hey, help me out and all this stuff. Like, I need it, or Zeus will turn me into dust. Because if you have read the books, you know that Zeus is extra. Let's just say he's extra. So that happened. So this is where we at. And so Percy Jackson's fighting this like god of old age or whatever. And he instead of keeping to fighting him and all this stuff, because he and this old guy was like, okay, let's duel for the chalice and all this stuff, because he like froze Annabeth and Grover like in a time still, like kind of like Kronos is like the god of time, but almost not. I don't know, had those vibes though. Not evil, but just like he like froze Annabeth and Grover like in their place. I don't know. So he did that. So Percy's like, okay, well, let's agree to the terms and all this stuff. Let's fight. Let's have a wrestling match and all this stuff. So he's like, okay. And because Annabeth Pome's side before it started, and he's like, and she's like, you cannot beat this guy. Like, you cannot beat this guy and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, okay. So it must be we know it's bad when Annabeth says something, because like, you know, she wise girl and all that stuff. So, but this is one of the multiple reasons why Percy is being the person that breaks the generational curses. Like, he, Annabeth, and Grover, they're all doing that, you know? They're all being better than the gods and all this stuff in so many ways. And so he was like fighting this guy, and instead of choosing anger, instead of just keeping to fight just to fight or whatever, fighting a losing battle, Percy's like, I'm gonna try something else. So because of chapter before was like the most embarrassing. Oh yeah, it says my dying words are super embarrassing. So honestly, he was fighting like Gary, the guy of old age, which not that much of a terrifying name, honestly. Which, I mean, makes sense, because this guy is just like a softie, you know, honestly. So he was fighting him and all this stuff. And instead of choosing anger, instead of just keeping to fight just to fight, you know, he's like, well, I'm going to be smarter, not harder here. Work smarter, not harder here. And I'm like, well, Percy's like, well, I'm going to fight you my whole life. Like, because he's a god of old age. I'm going to fight you my whole life. And, you know, he was so stunned, like this chapter, like Gary, like the god literally froze, because he's like, do you know the last time someone hugged me? That was so sad. Like, it's so sad. Like, what just a simple hug can do. Like, it's so sad. Like, not just in books, but like in real life. Like, what a simple hug can do to someone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be super long. Just like what it can do to someone. And like, because Percy's like, well, instead of just trying to fight old age, I'll embrace it. And the scary god of old age, he's like, dude, like, no one's done this. Like, what's going on? Like, you know, but Percy, like, imagine, like, what it would be like hugging his grandparents. Kronos, we don't try to think about that. I wouldn't either, honestly, because Cronus is Cronus. So, and he's like, Gary, he's like, old age is never embraced. Do you know the last time I had a hug? He's staring to the sky as if trying to remember his sad expression. His sad expression reminded me of old people I've seen in nursing homes, gazing into the distance, trying to figure out where their lives had gone and where their loved ones are now. And Percy's like, so what now? And he's like, old age is patient. I hate that about myself, but I almost never rush to end someone's life. And ending your life at 17 doesn't seem right. And yeah, so, because, see, Gary didn't like the chalice. He took the chalice because he's like, immortality shouldn't just be given like that. You know, like, it's not fair and all this stuff. And I totally get it, because he's a god of old age. So, the chalice gives give mortals immortality, which it totally goes against that. So, I totally understand. I mean, I totally understand why he's mad about that. So, but yeah, so he was hugging him, and then they finally got the chalice back. So I'm kind of in the middle of a chapter right now, so I'm going to finish this chapter, but I just wanted to tell that because I love Percy Jackson, the books, for so many reasons, but Percy just taking this in strides, like, he just being he's breaking so many generational curses brought back on by the gods, and he's trying to help the gods become better and all this stuff, and he already has, and this is just another example of that.